It all started on a quiet Saturday evening when I received a message from her. "I need some space," she typed, almost casually. I had learned to read between her lines over the years, so I didn't panic. I replied simply, "Okay," though inside, my heart was pounding. Later that night, she returned home, but something in her eyes was different. There was a strange mixture of guilt and defiance. I waited for an explanation, but she barely looked at me and whispered, "It just happened." Those words struck me harder than anything I had ever heard. She wasn't confessing something minor. She was telling me that she had been with another man. I felt anger, hurt, and disbelief swirl inside me, but my voice remained calm. "I understand," I said softly. I could feel the tension in the room, the heavy silence that followed my words. She stared at me, perhaps expecting tears, maybe even a shouting match. But my calmness unnerved her more than anger ever could. She tried to explain, rambling about circumstances, fleeting emotions, and mistakes. But I had already made my choice. I wasn't going to beg or punish her, not that night. My okay wasn't indifference. It was recognition of reality. The next morning, I left for a walk. The streets were empty, but my mind raced with memories of our years together. I replayed every smile, every fight, every moment we shared. And through it all, I realized something important. My life didn't depend on her actions. When I returned, she was waiting. Her eyes held a question, almost pleading for my reaction. I simply said, "You're free to go." There was no accusation, no bitterness, just clarity. She looked shocked, as if she had expected me to crumble. Days passed, and I focused on myself. Friends reached out, noticing the change in me. I spent hours running, reading, and reflecting on who I was and what I wanted. Each step I took reminded me that my strength was not in clinging to someone else, but in standing on my own. She tried reaching out, apologizing, begging for forgiveness. I listened politely but never once let her words sway me. My okay had never been a surrender. It had been a boundary, an acknowledgement that my life would not be derailed by her choices. Months later, I met someone new, someone who matched my energy and values. There was laughter, trust, and a deep sense of connection. But even as I moved forward, I carried no hatred for the past, only lessons learned about love, respect, and self-worth. I often think back to that night when she said, "It just happened." At the time, it felt like an end, a rupture in my world. Yet, in retrospect, it had been a beginning, an awakening to my own resilience and the power of calm, measured strength. In the end, my okay had meant more than she knew. It wasn't just a word. It was a declaration. It said I valued myself more than drama. I respected my own heart more than betrayal. And I was ready to live fully, regardless of what anyone else chose.